Hello, 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 hello. One more hello. Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. How are you, my people? How are you this wonderful, beautiful, lovely Wednesday afternoon? It is Wednesday, June 3rd, 2020, and you're watching Omega Live with JJ, Woman Without Borders. Yes, thank you so much for tuning in to the program to watch one more time. Yes, this episode of Omega Live. I really appreciate you. I thank you for spending your afternoon with me. I know you could have been otherwise, you could have been doing something else, but you chose to spend this time with me, and I do not take it for granted. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. As a student of knowledge, it gives me pleasure to share what I know with you, my fellow students of knowledge. Absolutely. And right now, call a friend or a family member. Yes, call them, tell them to come and tune in and to watch the program with you so that they too can be informed because they know I have information to give you that will help you to make informed decisions, right? Absolutely, absolutely. And so, if they can't basically come and watch with you, you can forward the link to them so that they can go and watch it on their own. And of course, remember that this program is also recorded, and so you can always watch the replay, or they can always watch the replay in their at their own leisure, right? Absolutely. Thanks again for watching. So guys, if it's your first time, welcome. Thank you. I appreciate you. Yes, share the link, subscribe. Remember to subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. It's very important to subscribe. And guys, remember my thumbs up. Remember to give me my thumbs up, okay? Absolutely. Absolutely. So, of course, for those of you who have been with me for a while, you know this spiel, right? I have to give you the news and then I give you my 2 cents on it, right? So, without further ado, I'm going to go right into the news. Jamaica now has 590 confirmed cases of the coronavirus disease COVID-19, according to a press release issued by the Ministry of Health and Wellness. The two new cases are a 69-year-old male and a 23-year-old female. Both cases are related to the workplace cluster that is the Alarico call center. Meanwhile, Jamaica recorded its highest number of recoveries in a 24-hour period, with 34 patients being discharged for testing negative for the COVID 19. This brings to 356 the number of persons who have recovered from the COVID 19. And according to the Health Minister, the Honorable Dr. Christopher Tufton, 34 recoveries, or 60% recovery rate, is a massive achievement for the public health sector and shows the resilience of our public health staff who work tirelessly to ensure that our loved ones are fully recovered and safe. Mhm. And for my big data people, I have to give you the details, to give you the numbers for this for today, right? So here it goes. So as I already told you, we have 590 as of this. Uh, Actually, it's as of 3 p.m. yesterday. Okay, we always get it like when I give it to you to the day before, right? So this was as of 3 p.m. yesterday. By today, 3 p.m., I will give it to you tomorrow, God willing, yeah? Absolutely. So to date, they say they have done over 13,407 samples to date. Of that number, 12,784 tested negative, and of course, as I said, 590 tested positive. So they have done over the last 24 hours 155 samples. And of that 155 samples that they did, that got two came back positive, as I told you, the 69-year-old male and the 23-year-old female. And they have 33 that are pending. Okay. The contacts of confirmed cases, according to them, is 217, and Alarica is now 235. Now, you notice how I said to you, based on what I got from them, because the information that I give to you guys is what I get from them, right? And based on the information that I got from them, they said that both were contacts of the workplace cluster. Isn't that what you heard me say? That's what I got from the press release. Nevertheless, on that same press release, they said one from the contacts of confirmed cases has now gone to 217, and Alarico has now gone to 235. So I'm not quite exactly sure what the difference here, guys, in terms of, because if they say both are contacts, right, of the workplace cluster, doesn't that mean that do you get from that that one is an employee of Alarica? No, right? hmm Because they say both are contacts of confirmed cases of the workplace cluster. But nevertheless, in their numbers, they say the number of contacts of confirmed cases is now 217, while Alarica is now 235. So they've ascribed one each, right? I'm giving it to you guys, or I get it. But I tell you now about this misinformation that they're giving us. I don't know why they throw numbers at us all the time. I don't think that we actually sit down and study these numbers. Yeah, they don't realize that. Okay. Anyways, local transmission still stays at 27, and the 20 are under investigation. So the number has not risen. It's still 20 who are under investigation. Meanwhile, the numbers who have been hospitalized has increased. So now we have 20 persons who have been hospitalized, and now we have one person who is moderately ill, and the same two persons who are still critically ill, who we continue to pray for, right? That God's will be done, right? We have 446 persons in government quarantine, and we have 255 persons who are home isolation, not necessarily home isolation, but they're in isolation, including home isolation. Yeah. So those are the big numbers for my big data people. Yeah. I've given my 2 cents just now in terms of these numbers that they're throwing at us. I actually noticed something else, guys, but I'm going to look into it some more before I say anything to you further. But I don't understand their figure between the isolation, those in isolation and those in government quarantine. Okay, so the number has decreased, it has declined. Nevertheless, the amount of number that has declined by is not the amount of persons that we have seen recovered. So where are those people? I'm not quite sure. I'm going to do some more investigation and I get back to you with that one, right? Because you heard I gave you the numbers just now, 34 recoveries, right? But if you check the difference, because we had 304 in isolation, and then yesterday, and then we have 255 in isolation today. Yesterday we had 564 in government quarantine. Today we have 446. Now, if you do the math, you'll see there's a big difference there in the numbers, right? Where are those people? What happened to those people? They're not recovered. Where are they? They don't throw numbers at us all the time, don't they? They don't think we actually sit and look at these numbers. I don't think so. hmm Anyways, continuing the news, guys. So, speaking in Parliament yesterday, the Prime Minister, the Honourable Andrew Holness, clarified that all persons who visited the island in the month of June are subject to mandatory testing. He also gave the list of the countries that consists of the travel bubble. The travel bubble. 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 Yeah, so I'm going to give you that story, guys. So, according to the Prime Minister, Honorable Andrew Holness, screening is not optional. So, how yesterday we said because, I love these people, I really do love them because, they throw things out there and then you hear people start to, and then they come back and they say, that's not what I said. That's not what I meant, right? Okay, so after having given us that press briefing, and we all heard that press briefing, those who were listening, and we heard clearly what was stated at that press briefing. Nevertheless, the Prime Minister said that's not what he meant. What he said, so he's going to tell you now what he actually meant, and he said it in Parliament yesterday what he actually meant. So he says there will be mandatory COVID screening for all passengers arriving in Jamaica in the month of June. So if you're coming, if you've started to arrive, and you're going to the 14th, locals, and decided to arrive on the 15th, foreigners, doesn't matter, until June 30th, everyone will be screened. It will be mandatory for you to be screened for COVID-19. He says during the period June 1st to 14th, which I already told you yesterday, arriving Jamaicans will go through a two-element screening process. And when the borders open to other travelers on June 15th, they too will be screened. The first element is a temperature check and the observation for symptoms, right? So, you have this mass machine, they say, that can check your temperature, and it will screen to see the elevated temperatures, and then the public health inspectors will come and pull you out the line if you're over I think it's what, 38, thereabouts. Yeah, give or take. um, he says that it's supposed to be done on the airlines by some of the airlines coming in. Okay. You refer to the second element as the risk based screening, which includes the interrogation of passengers about their travel history. It is not a process where we are just allowing people to go. These are the control measures that have been in place, not just for COVID, but for almost all other diseases that we have faced, the Prime Minister said. He said, based on the risk profile, incoming nationals may be required to be quarantined in a state facility. However, Mr. Olney said, all nationals entering Jamaica up to June 14th will be tested by providing a sample through a nasal swab. You're going to get your nose swabbed. I hear it's I'm not discouraging anybody, but it is a painful experience to have your nose swabbed. Mm. Yeah, I can imagine pushing something up your nose. Oh my God. Anyways, that's how they do the testing. Yeah. The Prime Minister said nationals assessed at low risk will be ordered to stay at home for 14 days, but not quarantined. Others may be quarantined or isolated. Excuse me. So he said some other things, but I'm not going to say that. I'm going to continue with the information I want to give you concerning travel bubble. So remember, he said those persons who are coming from countries wherein um, they have practiced good infection control measures and putting all the necessary measures in place, and they've kept their numbers down, etc., etc., etc. Right? So they are in what is called a travel bubble. So he lists the countries in the travel bubble. So the Prime Minister explained that passengers coming from these countries would not be subjected to mandatory testing due to these countries' management of the COVID 19 crisis. And these countries are, ready? Antigua and Barbuda, Barbados, the Cayman Islands, Grenada, St. Lucia, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Trinidad and Tobago, Montserrat, and the Turks and Caicos Islands. So if you are coming from any one of those islands, and if you have friends and family come from any of these islands, you can let them know that if they're coming from these islands, they will not be subjected to the mandatory testing because they're in what is called the travel bubble. Yeah. hmm Okay, guys. So, um, my 2 cents on that. Yeah. Okay. So I was actually. Oh, if I give my 2 cents on that, yeah. If I give my 2 cents on that, I should tell you something else. I thought I was this morning. This morning I was listening to Power 106, and Minister Edmund Bartlett was actually being interviewed on it. hmm So let me give you that little piece before I give my 2 cents. So Um, according to Minister Edmund Bartlett, in an interview with the Power 106, he said the government is working on an insurance program and speaking with some international groups to provide coverage for visitors who arrive in the country so that they can be flown back to their homes if tested positive. The minister said he's not going to give details at this time, right, because the discussions are ongoing. However, part of the COVID 19 resilience strategy is to provide recourse such as putting the necessary procedures in place for tourists to be flown back home. hmm So, let me give my 2 cents now. Yeah. All right. So, according to what, between the Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism, what they're saying now. Okay. So, for the month of June, as I said, okay, everybody come mandatory testing. However, when prompted, the tourism minister says basically for the tourists, because of course, you know, a lot of pressure has been put on both the prime minister and his cabinet, including the minister of tourism, to reopen the economy, especially for the tourist industry, right? And I talked about that yesterday extensively, so I'm not going to go into all the details again. You can go back into my library and watch yesterday's episode, okay? But because it ties into this, I mention it. Okay, the point is, so the airlines claimed that if they did not get to come now, chances are the window will not be open until about October, right? Now, you know the question is, especially with the hotels, the question of refunds. So persons booked their flights, persons booked their hotel accommodations, and guess what? No refunds. So because there are no refunds, so they have to come to utilize the money. They're not going to let the money go down the drain. But as I told you before yesterday, it's usually summer period is always slow anyway, and so this summer period is going to be even more slow as a result of the COVID-19. So the question is it going to be feasible for these tourists to come anyway? Anyways, that's not my contention today. Yesterday I talked about that. Today I'm saying, okay, so the minister says, now, if it is that a person comes into the island, a visitor comes to the island, and this visitor tests positive for COVID-19, they're going to put in place a system wherein this person will be flown back to their country. Now, the minister was quite emphatic, in terms of getting us to understand the reason for doing this, because according to what he's saying, if they do this will save the economy because they won't have to be worrying about finding the resources to actually take care of these persons, because they would have to, take care of them, give them food to eat. You understand what I'm saying to you? Like all the persons who are in quarantine and so forth, we have to feed them and so on and so forth, right? So it's additional expenses that they would have to, to pay for these persons if they are tested positive. So for him, the solution would be, right, and this is there, and this, he said they're in discussion about it still. So the solution would be for them to have an insurance policy or some mechanism in place, working with these companies that offer, insurance coverage that would cover these tourists so that they could return home if they are tested positive. What do you think about that, guys? Give me your comments. Let me hear what your views on this are. And if you're enjoying the program, guys, remember to give me a thumbs up. Let me see those thumbs up coming if you're enjoying the program, right? Yeah. So that is where we are at this point in time, guys. There are a lot of persons who are still saying, including the Minister of Health, even though he is going along with it. And I told you, I read body languages, so I was reading the minister's body language. I realized he was not happy with what was happening at all, but he's going along with, right? Being a team player, yeah. So they are opening up June 15th to tourists, and according to the Prime Minister, they are going to be tested. Question was asked about this passport that the Prime Minister had said on CNN, right, to the world that they were going to have this passport, and they flip flopped on that and said no, they're not going to have it again. Well, they gave Minister Bartlett gave a good explanation as to why that's not going to happen, because as he said, it doesn't make any sense doing that because we cannot validate whether or not this particular passport that they're going to have would be, accurate. The information would be, to be, one, would it be valid, or two, would it be accurate information? They can't ascertain that, and so that would be a waste of time having to go through that process to having them to do that. And it would be better if we ourselves did the testing, so that we also would know for a fact or for sure that this person does not in fact have COVID-19. And he made a reasonable point. I can accept that. You understand? What do you think? Let me hear your views on that all. Okay. hmm So, guys, that is it for that piece of news. It is a developing story, ongoing. I will have more information for you as I get it. You get it also, right? So, um, when I hear more, you will hear more. Now, this, let me get to know oh, oh yeah. Oh, my bad. So let's move on now to education. Right? So that was tourism. Let's move on to education. Now, classrooms crammed with up to 40 students will be a rare sight at secondary schools across Jamaica come June 8th, 2020. According to the Gleaner, the Gleaner article I was reading, right? According to the Gleaner, visits to schools across the corporate area where preparations are underway to facilitate exam refreshers showed classrooms that would normally seat 35 students now reorganized to accommodate nine. Only nine. So you remember, guys, oh, I am so dying to do that episode. Can I believe it that I don't have any time? In COVID-19 lockdown, well, we're no longer locked down. But I'm saying I am busy, yes, and don't have any time to put together this particular program that I want to do for you with all the list of all the benefits of COVID-19. But I'm putting together the list, and I'm going to do it one of these days. I'm telling you guys, COVID-19, it's a blessing in disguise. Be thankful. Indeed. Because remember, our classrooms used to be packed of students, one teacher having all 40 students to teach in a classroom. Huh? Remember those days? Now, only 9 students per classroom. Because the square footage when you have to be 6 feet apart, right? Absolutely. So when you do your square footage, yeah, it works out to only 9 students per class. School floors have been covered with new markings 6 feet apart, and walls with signs as hand washing become another part of the school routine. Should have been a long time, don't it? Some of these things, except for the physical distancing, of course, because we're dying for COVID-19 to be over and done with so that we can go back to, we don't want to be 6 feet apart, right? We are social beings. That's not going to work. But for now, it will have to work. But for things like hygiene, guys, that is something that should have been, a natural part of our lifestyle, don't it? Yes, you're supposed to wash your hands, man, regularly, right? If we were doing more hand washing, we would not be passing on all these germs to our friends and family and our children, don't it? Absolutely. Mm. So the adjustments come into effect as part of social distancing and sanitization protocols to limit the potential spread of the coronavirus disease, full stop. Schools were ordered closed on March 13th, and students have largely been relying on online classes since then. After more than 2 months of being cooped up at home, students sitting external exams will have prep sittings from next Monday, which is Monday, June 8th, as you know, until July 3rd, the Minister of Education had said. Principal of Wilmer's Boys School, Dwight Pennycook, said that although all classrooms have been sanitized, the larger and more ventilated classrooms will be mainly used. Wilmer will be operating on a shift system, and they will have 3 shifts from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., from 11 a.m. to 12 noon, and from 12:30 p.m. until 1:30 p.m. We're not going to have a situation where we have more than 200 students on the compound at any point in time, Mr. Pennycook disclosed, adding that no more than 6 teachers will be present for each shift. No more than 6 teachers will be present for each shift. Additional mathematics and Spanish are, are the only subjects the principal has concerns about at this time. For the 4 week refresher period, students will have more timetable sessions to make up for missed contact hours and to better prepare for oral exams. We are in good position, he says. We just want to ensure that we rev up our young men again and mitigate whatever regression that would have taken place, and say we should be in a very good place once we are through with them by the 3rd of July. Okay. At Holy Trinity High School, maintenance workers were busy mounting dispensers, holding down classrooms, and putting away excess furniture in storage. Vice Principal Dennis Barker Dunn said there are 215 examination candidates, with the largest subject batch being 57 students. The Ministry of Health will be here, she said tomorrow, which is actually today, right, Wednesday, June 3rd, to conduct their assessment. But we have been talking by phone, and the relevant staff have attended the online training session to discuss the protocols. The school's tuck shop will be used instead of the canteen to minimize contact. Staff and students have also been asked to take along meals where possible. Meanwhile, classes at Kingston Technical High School will begin with orientation about the new practice and expectations of students and teachers. We are using a staggered system, and we'll begin with the classes with the smallest number of students, said Principal Moulton Campbell, adding that sessions will begin at 9 a.m. Space is not an issue for the institution, as the school spans 2 locations connected by an overhead bridge. Okay, now segueing into, meanwhile, according to Linvern Wright, the president of the Jamaica Association of Principals for Secondary Schools. The Ministry of Health needs to improve on their communication skills, right? In terms of informing the association prior to making announcements. Now, they, this is an interesting story, because according to Minister with responsibility for education, the Honorable Carl Samuda, in response to reports that the National Secondary Students Council, the NSSC, were not consulted before bringing forward this date for the CXC, Mr. Samuda said, and I'm going to quote him, the National Secondary Students Council, the NSSC, public relations officer, is on record in the meeting noting a delay in the exams will hold back the students. She argued that such a decision would adversely affect students' chances of getting into universities overseas for the 2021 school year. He was referring to the meeting with the Jamaica Teachers Association, the Principals and the Vice Principals Association, the Parent Teachers Association, and other stakeholders. The minister further apologized for the misunderstanding surrounding his initial statement he had made on that press briefing. So, guys, my 2 cents before I continue with the opposition spokesperson's comment. All right, so I'm not going to spend too long on it because I talk about this again also between last week. You'll be talking about this, or between last week and this week. I'll be talking a lot about this. I even have another story now with the JTA president, Mr. Speed, but I decided I'm not going to give you that one today because it is in the news way too much as far as I'm concerned. This man thinks, I think this man likes to hear himself. And when they're supposed to be prepared, the students, so it's out there. Anyways, um, the principals, right, seem, most of them, as I've been listening, town hall meetings, beyond the headlines, and all of these programs that are that are on Radio Jamaica and other on Mellow FM and Power 106 and etc. And I've been hearing the principals being very vocal. You understand? I've heard students and I've heard some teachers, and those persons who have heard, most of them, to them for the most part, seem to be with it. They're on point. They're with the program, so to speak. Nevertheless, we still hear narrative saying that these associations were not informed by the Minister of Education in terms of the exam being moved up from July 3rd to July 13th. Now, why would the minister come on national television where people can see him and hear him, make up a story like this and say, and quote, right, the president, and saying that she said she wanted to have the exam sooner. When you heard, and I said it yesterday in my program, that they are saying that they were not consulted concerning the new date. Who's telling the lie? I tell you about this misinformation, guys. It's what I'm talking about to you. When I talk about breakdown in system, remember, the system is inanimate. It's the people in it we're talking about. You understand? Right? You see what I'm talking to you about. These are the educators who are educating our children. Hmm? And here, you see what is happening here? So some students and some teachers and some principals, they are forging ahead, preparing, getting everything implemented because the policy makers put through the policy, but who implement them? You and I, right? We implement them absolutely. And so it is that you can't expect that the minister is going to leave his office and come to Arden High School or Dunoon Technical or Exeter, wherever, and go and implement these things, right? It's for you to implement them. So I heard Mr. Wright say that classes are supposed to start on Monday, and today, Wednesday, many of the schools do not have the PPEs. You understand? So they have a problem with procurement. Now the question is, who is responsible for procurement? Where do you get these? From the Ministry of Health, I would be assuming, right? The Ministry of Health would provide the PPEs to the schools. So therefore, there seems to be some breakdown, guys, in communication again here, right? And we hear Mr. Wright said that he would love the Minister of Education to improve on their communication skills and consult with them prior to making an announcement, because apparently what seems to happen, according to what Mr. Wright is saying, if he's to be believed, is that they make announcements and then they go and they speak with the association. If that is true, that ought not to be. That's not how you make decisions. You understand? But then again, we don't know if it is true, because here it is that the NSSC had said that they were not consulted, but the minister was able to quote the president who was at the meeting and saying that she said, because of the fact that the universities, and I had mentioned that to you before last week, the universities have to make their decision because school reopened in September. And the freshman student at university, right? They are coming from the high school, right? Most of them. Absolutely. So they depend on this cohort to make their decisions. So they need to know who are going to be the students who pass and what, pass by what grade or not, whatever, so we can know where we're going to put them, right? If we're going to accept them in the first place. Absolutely. So she would have been right, and I would have said that too. So I don't understand now why is it now they're saying that we did not know, we were not consulted, and yet the minister was able to quote them. Hmm? I'm telling you guys, this he said, she said, and things that goes on all the time. It's not only in the Ministry of Education. It's just that people seem to have selective memories. You understand? Mm-hmm. Guys, personal growth and development. We got to do better. I hope and sincerely hope to see improvement in the education system, improvement in the health system, improvement in all of these systems. You understand? Every one of them. I mean, and we understand that nothing is perfect, but we want to see some serious improvements, man. You understand? Because I mean, the system is broken and then they must be mended. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, anyways, to continue with I'm still on education. I haven't come off education yet. So meanwhile, opposition spokesperson on education, Mr. Peter Bunting, said the government had bungled the management of the sector during the COVID-19 crisis. I'm going to quote him. He says, "We have seen so many stops and starts, flips and flops from the minister on policy and operational issues since the start of this COVID lockdown." The Manchester Central Member of Parliament said that most of the issues were unforced errors on Mr. Samuda's part. He accused the government of being reluctant to accept constructive suggestions from the opposition. But in almost every case, Mr. Bunting said, they have had to grudgingly adopt our suggestions after initially resisting it. Ah, I tell you, never a dull moment when you watch these parliamentary debates. They're really amusing, Guys, if you've not started to watch the debates in Parliament, it's a good time to start. Believe me. I never used to either. Thank God for COVID-19 that I have started, and I'm recommending them to you. You really get to see because even though they're on camera, guys, I'm telling you, personalities, after a while, they forget you're on camera, and you just, your natural personality just shine through based on what is happening. And you see some things, and you hear some things, and I'm telling you, it really is fun to watch. Yeah. Anyways, continue with the news. I'm getting to some sad news now, guys. I can't not have some sad news in it. Sorry for the double negative, but the reality is that it's just the news. It's in the news, so I'm giving you the news, right? According to the Jamaica Constabulary Force, the JCF, a 32-year-old St. Andrew woman is now on a murder charge after allegedly dousing a taxi operator with hot oil during a domestic dispute. The police are yet to finalize a date for the first court appearance of the accused, Melissa Sinclair of East Kingshouse Road. According to the JCF, on May 14th, Sinclair and 38-year-old Orville Pitto, also of East Kingshouse Road, had a dispute around 11:30 a.m. During the dispute, Sinclair poured hot oil on Pitto, causing severe burns. He was taken to hospital and then died just over a week later on the 25th of May 2020. Man, may his soul rest in peace. Condolences and prayers to the family of the gentleman Orville Pitto. And now, what a waste, guys. What a loss of two lives here. So now she has been charged with murder, even though they have not yet set a date, right? The court date has not been set, but she has been charged, guys, with murder. So here we have a loss of a life of this man, two young people, yeah, and now another loss of a life because if found guilty, which she will be, right? We can almost see that. Um, she now ends up that's another lost life right there. What a waste, guys. Why must we do these things? Yes, guess what? I understand. We have some men out there, them really, and because there's always three sides to a story, don't it? And we're not taking off for the man because we don't know the man could have been uh, the worst adjective that you could find out there. It could be, you understand? But we don't take the law into our hands, right? We don't. You understand? And not only that, to throw hot oil, hot, hot oil on somebody, guys? What kind of heart can you have as a human being to throw hot oil on someone? Hmm? Where is the God in you? Wow, wow. When I read it, I was like, oh my God, I had goosebumps, guys. I was like, oh my God, I can't even imagine. I mean, someone doing something like that. Yes, I know. Maybe she was being physically abused. I don't know. But I'm saying to throw hot oil on somebody. I know you throw hot oil on somebody, right? You probably all, the skin. I mean, I won't, go. You can use your imagination. I know for sure. Yeah, you can use your imagination. Yeah, and continuing with more deaths, guys. Here's another sad one. Here's another sad one. Yeah. And the Mona Common St. Andrew community is mourning following the death of a 17-year-old on Monday. Chrissy Ann Davis was found hanging on a pear tree in the family backyard with a telephone cord around her neck. Yeah. It is unclear what drove the teenager to end her life, but there are theories that she might have been troubled by psychological trauma from a nagging back injury and the life changes caused by her limping gait. According to her mother, Joan Watson, I'm quoting her, I never knew my child was planning to kill herself. She said, looking at a graduation picture of Chrissy Ann from New Providence Primary School and a Valentine's Day card that was that was signed by her daughter. An aunt of Chrissy Ann told the Gleaner that she was shocked at the tragic turn of events on what seemed to be a normal day when the 17-year-old had reportedly shown no signs of stress. There was no signs of stress. Yesterday, she was in the yard, fine, fine. All interview our nephews pretending they were at a job interview. This took us by surprise, said the aunt. She did not want to reveal her name. The family traced Chrissy Ann's pain to a freak accident on Easter Sunday when she fell from a mango tree and sustained serious injuries. Chrissy Ann's aunt is convinced that the back injury, robbing her of much of her independence, had been playing on her mind. The stratospheric cost of medical intervention and therapy may have also added to the pangs of immobility. She said that the plate for her back cost $600,000, and she was probably wondering where the money would come from. She was just 1 month shy of her 18th birthday and died on a Monday, a year after her father died, who also died on a Monday. Yeah, wow. Suicide, guys. Suicide. Yeah. We have to pray for our young people, guys. We have to pray for them. We have to pray for our young people because you just don't know. Because, and I can tell you, and I tell people all the time, and I remember my teenage years. I don't remember every single detail of my teenage years, but I remember overall my teenage years and the pain and suffering I felt and how I internalized because it's not like now I'm so talkative now, guys. Yes, when I was a teenager, right? I didn't talk about much about myself at all. I was very introvertive, and it was not because of my personality, but because of how I was raised. You understand? Yeah, and so which is why they say I'm making up for it afterwards. I had to make up for it because I never used to get the opportunity to talk before. It could be, but it's my nature, right, to be opinionated and to express myself. And so whenever I get the opportunity to do so, I do so. But I remember as a teenager, there were opportunity that afforded itself to me when I was given the chance to actually be expressive, and I did not because I had internalized so much that I could not express myself, and express the hurt and the anger and the pain that I was going through. And then what I would do, I would act out occasionally, and I would have spurts or sporadic moments when something would happen that trigger me and I just explode. That's what I would do. Yeah. Not good, but that's what happened, right? It's just the grace of God, guys, that I am still here alive. I'm telling you, because believe me, and I'm saying it on publicly to you. Yes, because I know somebody out there who can identify what I'm saying, and I'm saying it so that person can understand that there is life after. the thought of committing suicide. Yes, I have thought about it more than once growing up. Absolutely, that I would kill myself. Yes, I have. You understand? But for the grace of God, I'm here, right? And so, when we see our young people, guys, we have to understand all the time. It's not the COVID-19, it's not the hurricane, it's not the flood, it's not these are the things that affect young people. You understand? It is how you treat them as individuals. You understand? That's what have impact, lasting impact on them. You understand? And so we have to be careful how we treat our children, guys. We have to be very careful how we treat them. You understand? Because you don't know what's going on in their minds, what they're internalizing, And I'm not judging this mother. I don't know what they are according to what they are saying. They're saying they had a wonderful relationship and all that, and they're saying it's the accident she had. She fell out of a mango tree, hurt her back, and then it caused her not to be able to. But according to the news, I did not give it a part, but according to the news, they said that how did they report described her hanging on the tree. The adjective that was used was chubby. I did not give it that because I did not like that, but that's how they reported the news that she was chubby, which suggests, guys, it is right because you have peer pressure and you have a lot of children who go through, especially she's a teenager, she's 17 years of age, and she could have been very conscious of her weight, you understand? And all of that have negative impact also, you understand? Because sometimes, especially if people make fun of a young person, of a teenager about their weight, this can also have adverse effect, you understand? And so we have to really pay attention to our children, our young people, guys. We have to pay attention. We have to sit with them and talk with them and listen to them. So many times we talk to them and we talk at them, but we don't really talk with them. We don't really listen to them. And they have a voice. You understand? They have a voice. They have opinions. They have feelings. They are little people, guys. You understand? And so they might not be, the cognition might not be as developed, and they not be as experienced as adults, so they don't have the necessary experience to make certain kind of decisions in their life. But it doesn't mean that they're not a people. They're persons, and they have feelings. You understand? And the feelings get hurt, and they hurt. You understand? And so, but when they hurt, most of them they do not talk. They internalize, and then they act out. You understand? And then they do things that is destructive to themselves. You understand? And here it is. We have this young girl, 17 of years, almost 18. You understand? Who went and hung herself, and nobody had a clue and she must have been going through something for a while, and nobody had a clue that she was going through so much to the point where she found it hopeless. Because when you kill yourself, it means that you have lost hope. There is no hope now. You think that there is no hope, right? There is no light at the end of the tunnel. And so here it is. There is no light at the end of the tunnel for this young lady as far as she's concerned. So she has taken her own life. Guys, I'm asking you as fellow adults, please look out for our young people. Sit with them, talk with them, and listen to them. Find out what is going on in their lives. Okay? It's not just about feeding them and clothing them and giving them, whatever, and then, punishing them if needs be to punish or whatever. You understand? But actually getting to know them and getting their trust so that they trust you enough to actually tell you what's going on with them. Yeah? Guys, that's what the Lord wants of us. You understand? He doesn't want us killing ourselves. No. The Lord God is not happy with this situation. He doesn't want you killing yourself at all. You understand? So when something like this happens, guys, we all hurt. You understand? And I'm encouraging you, okay? Please, please, remember, look after our children, okay? Look out for them and look after them. Love them. Show them love. It's not about giving them material things, right? A child will go without having anything at all. Yeah, no shoes to wear, no clothes, nothing, and you give them all that love. You show them an abundance of love, and it will be like they have $1 million. I'm telling you, yeah. We pray for the family. It's a tough time for them, guys, and let us pray, for the family, and pray that they be able to survive this, because this can also have adverse effect on the family in a way that it can be like a domino effect and lead to other things happening. Yeah, absolutely. So we pray for the family. Yeah. Okay, guys. Hmm. Continuing. Yeah. And then one more sad news, and then I'm going to give it international news. So It was a somber mood at the Crossroads police station in Kingston on Tuesday following the sudden death the previous day of District Constable Morris Walker. Mr. Walker, DC Walker, 62, served as a Jamaica Constable Force for 35 years, giving all his years of service at the Crossroads Police Station. Inspector Oakland Henry remembered the late cop as an employee with an outstanding work ethic, often going beyond the call of duty. On Monday, Walker had complained about a pain in his leg while at work, and Henry recommended that he elevate it to reduce the swelling, but he would have none of it, so he continued to work until 6 o'clock in the evening, the end of his shift. That's what Henry told the Gleaner. Walker was later found unresponsive in his barrack room and later pronounced dead at the Kingston Public Hospital, KPH. Henry declared that the policing was stressful, but said she was unaware if Walker was contending with additional pressure at work or otherwise. Excuse me. Henry said that Walker's willingness to fight through pain was a testament to his commitment to policing. He would continue to work, and if his supervisor recognized that something was wrong and asked him to remain at the station, he would say, "No, man, me all right," she recalled, adding that Walker suffered from diabetes. A fellow district constable, Neil Carnegie, worked with Walker for the last 4 years, said, "It's a sad passing. We have lost a good worker and a very good person. He was very jovial and would always find something to say to break the ice. He did every task. Even if he was experiencing pain, you would never know until you hear him groaning." The late district constable leaves behind a widow and several children. We say condolences and prayers to the widow of Constable Walker and the children and all family and friends. May his soul rest in peace. Yeah, Lawson is a good cop, guys. Yeah. So, international news. So, New York, guys, have imposed a curfew. We started on Monday, June 1st, and will end on Monday, June 8th, as the nation's biggest city tries to curtail destruction erupting amid protests over George Floyd's death. And I was corrected because they had moved it from 11 p.m. and now it is now 8 p.m. So my best friend and cousin who live in New York and are right there on the scene and know exactly what is happening, they corrected me and they told me, so now it has been moved to 8 p.m. So it is no longer 11 p.m. It is now from 8 p.m., guys, until 5 a.m. So New York has joined other cities around the country in imposing strict restrictions after days of violence. This is the first curfew, guys, in New York in 75 years. The limit on the movement of 8.6 million people, some people in New York, 8.6 million people comes after months of restrictions already imposed because of the coronavirus pandemic. Mayor Bill de Blasio and Governor Andrew Cuomo said the outbreaks of violence, which left stores ransacked, police vehicles burned, and other destruction in spots around the city, left them no choice, even as they insisted that they stood with the peaceful demonstrators who have spoken out for several days against police brutality and racial injustice. "We can't let violence undermine the message of this moment," de Blasio said in a written statement. Cuomo blamed people who are looking to distract and discredit the protests and said they couldn't be allowed to undermine public safety. Yeah. Okay. And the final international news for you today, guys. So Google has been sued, or is being sued, in a $5 billion, with a B, guys, $5 billion class action lawsuit. So let me get that story. So a $5 billion class action lawsuit has been filed that alleges Google have been tracking users' browsing habits despite engaging Chrome's incognito mode. The lawsuit is seeking a minimum of $5 billion and would likely include millions of Google Chrome users. The lawsuit, filed in the federal court in San Jose, California, covers users who have used incognito mode since June the 1st, 2016. According to the complaint, Google gathers data through Google Analytics, Google Ad Manager, and other applications and plugins, including smartphone apps. The complaint, which was seen by Reuters, claimed that Google is capable of learning about users' friends, hobbies, shopping habits, and the most intimate and potentially embarrassing things a user searches for. The complaint states that Google cannot continue to engage in the covert and unauthorized data collection from virtually every American with a computer or a phone. The lawsuit is hoping to receive $5,000 in damages per user for violating federal wiretapping and California privacy laws. A Google spokesperson has pushed back against the lawsuit, claiming that the company discloses such risks. We clearly state each time you open a new incognito tab, websites might be able to collect information about your your browsing activity. Yeah. Let me give you my last 2 cents on this before I close the program today, guys. So, I have been saying this for years and years. For a long time, I did not use Google Chrome. Long, long time. A matter of fact, I got an opportunity to teach on Cambly. Right, I could have been teaching on Cambly. Cambly is an online platform where I teach English to students, right? And I taught on Cambly for 5 years. I when I first got up to teach English on Cambly, Cambly was using Chrome and Chrome alone, and according to them, you have to use Chrome, and I did not want to use Chrome because of the very same thing that is happening here. I'm talking about, guys, almost 8 years ago. Okay, this that is happening right now. It's not been happening today or yesterday. I knew it. I saw it. I saw the signs, and I recognized what Google was doing with their Chrome application. It's very invasive. It invades your privacy. And I refused to use Chrome. And because I refused to use Chrome, I could not get to teach on Cambly. You understand? It is only after I decided to go ahead and use Chrome because at the time I needed some money, and teaching English online was the easiest thing for me to do because as an English teacher, and as an I have my degree in English, and as persons know, I also have a degree in English. So for me, it was a natural thing to do. So, and I earned, money doing it. So I was like, I needed to have some funds. So I had to bite the bullet and go on Cambly and go on Google Chrome to use the Cambly application. Yeah. Unfortunately for me, uh, they said since 2016 Google users. So I don't think I'm going to get any and I'm going to be a part of that that class action lawsuit because I don't think I have used this in 2006, 2006. I gotta go back and check though. I don't remember when I stopped using Cambly and stopped using Google Chrome. So I don't use Google Chrome, guys. I use Firefox and other browsers. I do not use Google Chrome. Mm-mm. So I know that they are, yeah, when I stopped using Cambly is when I stopped using Google Chrome. I only did it because of that, because of Cambly. Yeah. This is not a surprise to me. This was expected. This was a long time coming. They've been doing it for years. It's not about a decade now. They've been doing this. It's not yesterday or today. They've been doing this. So I am not surprised. And this is going to be, uh, you're going to hear a lot more about this, guys, going forward, or maybe not, because they might Google being Google. They might just settle out of court and give each person their $5,000 and send them on their way. Yeah. Anyways, I will let you know the outcome of that story as I hear it, guys. Absolutely. Yes, guys. So, anyways, lots of things are happening. Lots of borders are opening. Antigua opening borders. Everybody opening borders, and you know, persons are coming into the island. Planes are arriving. Oh! I didn't tell you that one. Yeah, I should have said that one too. Um, so the prime minister did say that we're having 2 flights a day. 2 flights a day. We're having 2 flights a day, and that is from North America. 2 flights a day from North America, and we will also have a midday flight for the Caribbean. So the midday flight for the Caribbean and 2 flights a day from North America to get in all those Jamaicans between now and the 14th of June. Yeah. hmm more to come. as I get it, you know you get it, right? I give you the latest on these stories. Okay. I notice when I give it, you know I'm giving you the latest, guys, because I'm listening to these stories on the radio these days, right? And you notice them, you're hearing them when I've already given them to you, don't it? Because as I get them, I give them to you. Absolutely, absolutely. You can expect to get the latest story on Omega News and Omega Live. Guys, I have come to the end of the program for today. I really thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Let me see those thumbs up, man. If you're enjoying the program, let me see those thumbs up if you enjoy the program. Okay, right. And remember to share the link, guys, with your friends and family because it is recorded and so they can watch the replay. Right? Absolutely. I thank you so much for spending this hour with me. My time goes so fast. Time goes so fast when you're having fun, doesn't it? Absolutely. Guys, remember why I do this. I do this because as a student of knowledge, I am here to share information with you so you can make informed decisions, right? My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, right? That's what the Lord says. Absolutely. And we are tired of seeing our people be destroyed. See what's happening, guys, in the United States of America right now? Lack of knowledge, That's what it causes that. Lack of knowledge is what is causing all that destruction in the US right now as we speak. You understand? My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. It is very important to have knowledge, guys. And so as you get that information, share it, guys, with your friends and family so they too can make informed decisions. Okay. Remember, I am on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram where you can go and you can actually like, comment, and share. And remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel, guys. If you have not yet done so, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel, right? I thank you so much for spending this time with me. Another great day of uninterrupted service. Mwah. Thank you, Lord. I thank my Father that it is getting better and I appreciate it a lot. Thanks to Flow and Digicel and YouTube. Even though YouTube is not giving me my the correct algorithm, guide, my the analytics. It's not. I don't know what is going on. I saw something. I was reading something that it said something about robots analyzing the persons who are real from those who are not. I'm like, really? So many real persons are tuning into the programs, and you're telling me, the robots are not picking them up. That means we need to do it manually then, right? But anyways, I see wherein persons are watching and it is not showing in the viewership, but it's okay. I'm happy to be on YouTube. I can share with you what I know, okay? Because knowledge is nothing if it's kept to myself. Keeping it to myself, guys, means nothing. Knowledge must be shared, it must be applied. And so I really enjoy doing what I'm doing, and I hope you enjoy watching the program. So I thank you again for tuning in with me, and remember to join me again tomorrow, same time, same place. God willing. Okay, so until then, remember, guys, to continue to practice your infection control measures. And if you go outside, remember to wear your mask, but do it responsibly. Okay, not more than 4 hours at a time, because it can cause adverse effects. And even for persons, if you have respiratory illnesses or underlying conditions, you cannot even wait for 4 hours either. You have to take breaks, okay, in between. Okay, because it will cause other underlying problems to develop. Yeah. Okay, I want you to stay healthy, guys. I want you to stay healthy. Okay. Yes. I wish above all things that you prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. Okay. So health is important. All right. And so stay healthy, guys, until I see you tomorrow at noon, God willing. So until then, stay blessed and remember to love upon each other. Love and compassion. Practice compassionate discretion, guys. Even if someone does you something, sometimes you have to take the high road. Yeah, sometimes you have to give them the right, give up your right, so to speak, just for to ensure that you show love and compassion, guys. Yeah, absolutely. So remember, show love and compassion to your fellow men. Okay, and as I said, I will see you tomorrow at noon, God willing. Until then, stay blessed and be a blessing. Love you. Bye.